Friends, I told you I'll be back on here with these YSL quads that I purchased from YSL Beauty, and this obsession with the mini clutch eyeshadow palettes from YSL started when I bought Babylon Roses from the Sephora sale. This one did me in. Ever since I tried these shadows, I just wanted to try all the quads, but I held back, especially during the sale. I just bought Babylon Roses, but after that, I proceeded to purchase Store Dolls in the limited holiday packaging from Nordstrom. Store Dolls is in the original lineup, but I needed that silver metallic compact and over Brune, which by far, I think I'm calling it now, out of all the ones that I have, my favorite. Now, YSL Beauty, which one of you had told me, I think in either my Sephora haul vid or a Get Ready With Me vid, that YSL usually runs a pretty good sale, and that they did. And another one of you, friends, I appreciate the help, reminded me that YSL Beauty was running 30% off during their Black Friday, Cyber Monday, hoo-ha-ha sale. So I picked up 3. I originally had like 6 in my basket, and I wanted to share that because I am not absolved from being seduced by sales and just making the excuse it's okay to buy so many because it's 30% off. It's 30% off $68. We're starting pretty high, so it went down, I think, to $47.50. I'm sorry, I'm going to clip these back. I love them, but they're driving me nuts. That's still expensive. It's still $50 a quad, more or less, and I wilted it down to 3. And I just wanted to quickly go over the ones that I did have in my basket but decided to not buy, not because I don't think they're beautiful or that I still don't want them, but I think it's nice just to have these types of conversations, because if you went through the same dialogue, because I think some of you have all the YSL quads, and I get it, but I had to hold back because, my gosh, when I saw the total, I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We have the swatches, we have the demos, but first, I just have to say, YSL Mini Clutch comes in 11 curations, and let's see here, 5 out of the 11 are sold out online. Okay, Kasbah Spices is currently sold out, and I had Kasbah Spices in my basket. The reason why I said no was because with that peachy matte and that kind of neutral dark brown matte, I figured that was like Natasha's I Need a Warm. I Need a Warm has more peach leaning matte and also a lot of the browns and the beautiful Wet Effect sparkling foiled formula. So I said, listen, it's beautiful, but you kind of already have those colors. I also had Medina Glow. Medina Glow is pretty. I think it's more of a pink red version of Gueliz Dream, which is one of the ones I did purchase. Again, I would have rocked this, but I felt like I don't wear those types of burgundies often, and I could argue Natasha's Retro is basically Medina Glow, maybe Retro a little smokier, a little more hearty because of the heavier burgundy and wine shades in there. So that's why I said I'll be okay without Medina Glow. Spontini Lilies is next. Yes, I thought this was an interesting quad, very lightweight from the photo, and I think it would have appeared very like spring-like on me, on my complexion, but I felt this resembled Byredo's Remembrance, but just smaller in a quad format because of that rosier brown matte, the what looks to be a warm pastel pink, satin or metallic, the light beige shade, and I think the top left color is a duochrome shimmer. There's like a pink flip on what looks to be like a taupe base. That would have been lovely, but again, having Remembrance and having a bunch of Natasha Denona palettes, I thought I'll be okay without it for now, because who knows if they run another sale event like they did last week. Not to say that I won't get it. Over Noir was one of the first ones to sell out when everything else was in stock, when I was shopping around and deciding which quad to buy. And I completely understand. This is your smoky eye in a quad, and it's straightforward. I think approach is what makes it appealing. This is basically Xenon, except Xenon is a little more monochromatic because Xenon doesn't have a beige matte. like this quad does, but I do like the fact that it includes a metallic charcoal that I can envision just slapping on the entire lid. This taupe silvery metallic. Of course, you need the black matte, and that beige shade, albeit would not show up as much on my lids, but would serve as a blurring shadow for both the black and charcoal colors. So I could easily understand why this is an immediate favorite, and I was kind of bummed. I think this would have been the one of the ones that I purchased, did not leave behind, because you can't go wrong with these shades in a quick get ready with me, if there's ever such a thing, but there probably is, smoky eye. This will be the quad to give you that. And lastly, Overbrune, which I have sold out, and I can understand why. I've used Overbrune, and I think it is just exceptional. It is, I don't know what it is. I think because of the inclusion of that plum metallic and the fact that it gives a little bit of that plum shade with that caramel matte brown, you have that taupe, warm taupe satin matte, or excuse me, just satin color with the shimmer. It's incredible. And the shade, or the quad, I had on my November Favs vid, and I got some compliments on my eye look, friends. So, you know, I can understand why Overbrune is a favorite and probably my ultimate. And Overdore I did not purchase because this is Natasha's Golden, basically in a quad format. Lovely, because that what looks to be a gold satin with that taupe, maybe matte or satin, and the dark brown, more of like a black coffee shade of a matte. That's an easy smoky gold eye, 100%. And I can understand why this smaller compact is more appealing than schlepping around golden. Now it's time to get into the quads that I did purchase. I'll start with Gueliz Dream, which I had swatched in Sephora originally. And what took me in immediately was that warm, I guess like a reddish brown terracotta shade. You know how I feel about those shades, and the more muted nature of it, I thought made it fairly wearable and easy to slap on the entire eye. And I'll just go through my footage here. For this quad, I decided to start out with what looks to be a caramel brown matte shade, and this had great coloring. I slapped it on my entire crease, on the outer corner. Easily could wear this shade all by itself, and then slap on the champagne gold metallic overlay shade. I decided to go in with the red brown on the other side in the same manner that I went in with that caramel brown, all over the crease and outer corner, but you can see that it definitely takes on more of that reddish hue. But I love reddish hue eyes, not in the same way as I adore burgundies and those heavier wine reds that you find in retro. I love those for different reasons. These more brown, red, mattes, red tones, I think lovely as a smoky element to the eyes. It adds a smoky element to the eyes that's not necessarily traditional brown or traditional black. And then I decided to go in with what I consider to be like a medium brown. You'll get a little more of a smoky effect if you layer it over the caramel brown, as I do here on the demo, but you won't see much of a distinction. Well, maybe you could, but not so much of a smoky distinction if you decided to layer this shadow over the red shadow, right? Which is kind of what I did today. You can see a little bit of semblance of shadowing here near my lash line, but it's not going to give that same girthy of smokiness that you probably would get from the store dolls brown, or even the brown from Overdore. I apply that brown on the caramel shade, which I'm looking at it now. It's more of like a peachy brown. I think it's a unique shade. It's just gorgeous. Went in with the Sparkly Arcly, just dabbed it with my fingers, and one of the appealing features of the quads from YSL, this formula is so feather light. It's almost like a fabric of sparkle, and I think forgiving on a variety of types of lid textures, lid types. It is on the drier side. It's not going to have the same zhuzh as you would find on, or in rather, in a Tasha Denona shadow. I think Viseart has a little more grab with their shimmers. The Danessa formula you find in Lightwork 6 Freedom palette. These are a little drier, so you might have to prep your lid with something more tacky or wet the brush to get a little more adherence. But I just tapped a little bit more of that medium brown shade on the outer corner to ensure that the lines don't look separate, that everything appears cohesive. I decided to brush more of that red brown all over my lid for the second eye. I did tap on the medium brown along the lash line just to see if there would be any distinction. There's not much. If you wanted more of a distinct line to be seen on your lash, I would go in with a dedicated liner like Black Coffee. And then I tapped on the shimmer here on the inner corner. So my apologies. I thought I tapped on the shimmer on the entire lid, but I think I left the lid alone for the most part and just had it showcase that red shadow. And here are the final looks using Gueliz Dream. And it's a straightforward quad, I know. I understand that I have these shades, yes, but I just adore the formula. I adore the formula, the nuance of color, how soft these mattes are, how easy it is to achieve this look. And I don't mind that the red matte is as red as it is. I think compared to something like you would find in Medina Glow, for instance, that would be more of like a pink red, like a warmer red. This is definitely more of a brownish red. It has an earthy element to it, which I think makes it so enchanting and why I had to grab this. And easy to slap on for every day. I could forego the red entirely. Just put on that peachy warm brown through the crease all over my lid, then slap on or tap on rather the sparkly arcly all over the lid, a little bit on the inner corner, and then use that medium brown along the lash line or go in with a dedicated charcoal liner. Possibilities are endless, but the effortless nature of this quad, I think, is what had me choose it and immediately made it a favorite. I mean, the shots, my goodness. I adore it. The next one I purchased, or the next one moving on to, is Over Orange. I thought that orange matte looked appealing online. I didn't know how it would translate on my skin tone, how it would look. Would it look vibrant coral? Would it look more muted coral? But I was surprised, again, at just its light nature. You can see it in the swatch how it's not super intense, but it has the potential to be built up. And that's exactly what happened when I slapped this on the eyes. When I started to apply, I went in first with that orange shade. And you see I'm going in with a huge brush. This is the Bobodo and Tuckahoe collab eyeshadow brush, that big shader, just so I could envelop my entire eye with this shade. And it's pretty vibrant, I gotta say. It has nice coloring on it, not patchy, did not apply unevenly. It just rested on my lids easily. And I decided to follow up here. Let's see, did I go on the second eye? Yes, I did. I wanted to go in with that beigey kind of peachy shade, which kind of shows up through my crease. I think it's a lovely setup shade and one that will be great to feather the edges of either the orange shade or the more terracotta brown that I think I'm following up here with that peachy matte. Yes, I decided to apply that brown shade on the outer corner as well as on the inner for a soft halo eye effect. And the quality of these mattes is just outrageous. The way I just tap it on my outer lid, it virtually blends itself. And I carried a little bit of that same brown under the lash line in the same halo fashion. And I think I followed up with what looks to be the Sparkly Arcly shade, which is more of like a copper champagne. This has a little more punch in the setup color, the backdrop color, if you will. The sparkle is there, but I decided to apply that sparkler shade all over the orange lid so that you still saw the orange from underneath, but now you had the razzle dazzle on the lid. And I think I tapped on that same color not only on the inner corner of the halo eye, but I tapped it on the center between the brackets of that warm brown shade. And much like what I said about Gueliz Dream, where the browns in here, not so much to deliver smoke, but more of a haze, because they're not super dark brown, and you can better see their offering, their color contribution, if you layer them over the lighter of the three. And in this case, layering this terracotta brown over that warm beige shade, you definitely can see that effect more than if I would have applied that on top of the orange matte. And I believe I went in, did I go in with black coffee? Yes, I did, using Sonia Smudger to smoke it out, to get a little bit of a baby wing effect going on. And here are the final looks. Even though it's an orange matte, I would wear this out. Absolutely. I would dare to even, I didn't do it in this demo, but it might be coming soon, bring that orange eyeshadow out from my lash line in that more haze effect that I've experimented with blushes. But now having this shade, I think will be a stellar opportunity to play with that shadow bleed out, if you will, because it's a lovely color and a beautiful texture that I think will blend well, not only on the eyes, obviously, but here around the cheekbone area, especially if you have something creamy here on the cheekbones. I have the Byredo highlighter stick on my cheekbones today. I could apply the Byredo first, and then, listen, that's gonna be a look. Adore over orange. And again, I wanted to buy the quad that I felt was not going to be the safe choice, because I had three safe choices already. I included Gueliz Dream, which I consider also a safe choice. I wanted to see what that orange shade could do. And I forgot to mention also that I applied that matte orange on the inner corner, which I think is a nice pop of color moment. I didn't do it in this demo, but I could have placed that orange matte here on the lower inner lash line, just as a peak effect with that shade. And those are the different areas that I would play with this orange shade, because if you have this quad and you didn't know how to navigate it, you didn't know how quite to capitalize on it, if you don't feel comfortable running that orange through your matte, you could always just use it here lightly on the inner corner, the lower inner corner. You could even place it here on the entire lower lash line as just like that smoky haze effect, but orange. It sounds scary, but I think you could get away with it. It's just a beautiful effect on a smoky eye, but using a different color. And then using the orange, not as your main stage crease shade, but using it to just lightly blend out the warm brown. And see how when you combine those shadows, if you just ran it carefully over the edge of that warmer brown, it will create a beautiful gradient that's soft. It won't appear as bold and vibrant as it does here in my demo when I slapped it on initially with a big brush. The more product you pick up, the more bold it will appear. If you use a fluffier brush, maybe like a squirrel brush and not a goat hair one, that won't pick up as much product, but lay it down lightly and still have that light orange effect, but not as intensely, oh, that's a good idea. I'm just playing with these different approaches in my head because the shorts are coming, right? So I just want to make sure that I present different techniques that I have here on this video so I could expand the options a little more. And lastly, which one did I buy? The last one. Palmaraie. Is it Palmaraie Skies? I had to get the blue quad. 100%. I know it's not the most practical, right? It's not going to be the warm, the terracotta, but I was intrigued by the fact that it included what looked to be like a seafoam metallic or a seafoam sparkly arcly, a sky blue satin, a midnight blue matte with turquoise sparkles, and a cobalt matte. This had a little bit of everything from the blue family, and that's what intrigued me. The fact that it didn't just stick with one type of blue, but several in a variety of finishes. So that's why I had to go in with that cobalt blue first, because you just got to dive right in, right? And boy, oh boy, I use the same Bobo Don Tuckahoe collab brush. I had to pick up that cobalt, or not cobalt, maybe cerulean blue with my Bobo Don Tuckahoe brush. Okay, do you see? The color payoff is crazy, and it wasn't dry, it wasn't chalky. Blues can be funny, but this blue, it had a clue. It was beautiful on the lid and vibrant too. It wasn't dull. It wasn't, not that I love a muted blue. I love a muted blue, sure, but this had some vibrancy to it. It almost appears neon, if I dare to say. And I decided to fully commit. Not only did I place it all over the lid, through the crease, on the lower lash line as well, and I decided to go in with that Seafoam Sparkly Arcly shade on the inner corner. I think I also, at some point during this demo, tapped it on the center of the lid on top of the cerulean, then Seafoam Sparkly on the lower inner lash line. I decided to just feather the edges, and yes, went in with the Seafoam Mint, however you want to classify it, on the center of the lid just to give a little bit of brightening. Then I needed to see this sky blue in action, but as an inner corner moment. I could have used this color as a highlighter for the first eye, but this is fantastic if you wanted that sky blue color to live on your eye look, but not in the same way as I did with the cerulean. I'm saying cerulean, I could be totally off. You could let me know what type of color it is down below, but I think it's a great color to place on the inner part of your eye for a highlight, but you still have that light blue hue, and it's satin, so it has a little bit of sheen to it. And then I decided to go in with the Seafoam all over my lid with my finger because I thought that would have been a nice main stage moment for the entire eye. Use the same Tuckahoe and Bobodo collab brush to make sure that sparkly shade was all over the lid. I then decided to use a little bit of that cerulean, not in the same fashion as I did with my first eye, but just to lightly invite some smoke on the outer corner, not a ton, just to kind of envelop what I had already on the lid, just to bring it all together, because I mainly then wanted to use that midnight matte with the turquoise sparkles or teal sparkles in there as my lash line, not only smoke but also light outer corner smoke. I thought that would have been a nice combination. It would have been a soft gradient of smoky into blue, and that's exactly what I did with my smaller Rephr brush here. I didn't want it to be as distinct as a shadow wing liner. I wanted it to be more diffused, and I could have 100% gone in with that midnight matte on the outsets of the first eye on top of that cerulean, or even gone in heavier with it on the second eye, but I just wanted it to be a little softer on the serving because, listen, on the shorts, I'm definitely going to slap on that darker blue all over the lid because I think that just will look gorgeous. The sky blue on the inner corner, tapping on that Seafoam on the lid for more of that brightening effect. And here are the final looks using Palmaraie Skies. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. It's number 900. I adore how these turned out. Blue eyes, forget it. Yes, I thought about Natasha Denona's mini Trio Chrome. That has a different vibe about it. Mini Trio Chrome has the cobalt. It has more of the navy. It like the lighter, icier blues. This quad, I don't know, man. That medium blue, that what I call cerulean, nailed it. YSL nailed this type of blue. And the fact that it was just a breeze to slap on. I know I'm good with eyeshadow. You're like, Alicia, shut up. I think if you were intimidated by blues, you would have a good time with this one, for sure. Because the texture of these mattes are so soft and silky, but the color integrity is still there. It's like nothing got sacrificed. It's all there for you. I also love the second eye, how it turned out, where you see a little bit of that cerulean on the outer corner, but bringing in that dark midnight matte on the lash line just made it so, Those are the 3 quads that I purchased during the YSL sale event. I now have 6 in all, and I love them. But I hope this video helped you if you do have these YSL quads, or if you have similar shadows to the ones that I showcased. If you want to see Babylon Rose's Store Dolls or even Over Brune in action, I have those in action in my, I think it's my Sephora haul video. definitely my get ready with me and my Luxe video. I can't recall which one I used, but you definitely will see them in action, and I plan over the weekend to do individual shorts with each, because you got to. And hopefully I'll remember what I did on this video to present other techniques and placement ideas using these shadows. So thank you all for letting me know about the YSL sale and for encouraging me to just take a look again, because you're right. These YSL mini clutch eyeshadow palettes are fantastic. I think one of my favorite purchases of the year. Sure, they're not going to be in contention for best eyeshadow palette of the year because they've already been released, but I'm happy to now have them in my collection, and I'm less inclined to buy eyeshadow palettes from other brands because I enjoy, again, the effortlessness of these shades, of the formula, the fact that they're just so easy to apply, easy to blend, but the effect is outrageous. Sign me up. Box is all checked. Let me know down below what you picked up, if you did, from the YSL sale. Any other quads that I should have my eye on. I'm definitely gonna wait for another sale opportunity because I did not and purchase store dolls and overbrewed full priced from Nordstrom, but it's fine. I'll wait my turn for the next run, but I would love to know your thoughts down below. I will see you down in those comments, but before you leave, make sure you like this video, especially if you made it to the end, and consider subscribing because more eyeshadow palette tutorials are coming, especially when I get the Viseart ones in, and hit that notification bell so you know when the upload drops and you'll see my face right away. With that, friends, I'll see you down in the comments, and I'll see you on here again soon.